Hi everyone, welcome to Honey Drops Tarot. This is a general reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Aries, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. I truly appreciate it. Just a quick note, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never reach out to solicit for a private reading. I do offer private readings, and if you're interested in signing up for one of those or in making a donation, you can find that information in my Buy Me a Coffee link, my official Instagram and TikTok, all listed in the About section of my YouTube page. And I thank you so much in advance. Aries, I hope that you're doing well. I'm going to be using two decks for your reading today. First one is the Botanical Dreams Oracle deck, and the tarot reading will be with the Tarot of the Abyss. The cards have been pre-shuffled. This is for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Okay, wow. This is a beautiful card. Number 31, which reduces to a 4. The Emperor card in the major arcana of the tarot. That's Aries energy. Aries, you showed up in your own reading. The number 4 has been very prominent in a couple of the water signs that I did, different configurations that reduce to 4. So I feel like that might be important for the collective right now. 4s are always related to firm foundations, right? The 4 legs of a chair. And the word is masks. It's interesting because I don't really know what to believe in this image. Her body is like, it's, thank you, Spirit. Okay, I guess that's the point. Her body is kind of there, but not there. Kind of blends into the background. So it's kind of like difficult to situate where she is in relation to the viewer. And so there's this kind of disorientation that might be happening in your life right now. That you could feel that maybe you're wearing a mask, maybe you have a good reason, or you feel that other people are, and you don't know where you stand. I don't necessarily feel like there's like big threat or anything like that, because the color scheme is so, for me, it's so comforting. It's so muted and beautiful. The golden butterflies and the lavender blooms. It's quite complementary in terms of a color wheel perspective. The yellow and purple go together. They're on opposite sides of the color wheel. So there's a lot of, it's interesting, on opposite sides of the color wheel, on opposite sides of the wheel, opposite sides of the spectrum. Could have to do with politics. That you and maybe somebody you're close to, maybe you both are unable to see eye to eye on something political or something that matters to both of you, but in different ways. And you're kind of questioning, you know, what mask did that person have on this whole time that I didn't see it? They could be saying the same about you. Take it as it resonates. That might just be for like one person, but that came through when I said spectrum. You know, because I heard the words liberal, conservative in my mind. No matter where you are in the world, those are already kind of loaded terms. The most important takeaway from this card is you trying to find your footing, your place in relation to another. So we'll see with the tarot a little bit more of what that's about. 3 cards for the base spread, 3 cards for clarifier, past, present, future. And at the end, advice from Spirit. Okay, 6 cards out on the table. I'll get the advice from Spirit at the end. Just suddenly felt like massive tension in my shoulders. That tension has probably always been there, but Spirit just drew my attention to it. So that could be something that you're contending with right now. Just so much tension and anxiety, maybe. Almost like Spirit wants, just take a deep breath. Things could be kind of volatile. We have to recognize that we can't control other people or other things. We can only control ourselves. Spirit wants to remind you of that and remind you that you are worthy, that you are loved, that you are held, and to take a deep breath. I'm going to burn some Palo Santo to clear the energy. Like, Spirit really wants me to do this, so I did not do this with the other fire signs. So something about you, Aries, that Spirit is asking for it. Do you feel better? I don't know. I feel better. Always to remember to be in the present moment. And to remember that this is just a temperature, just taking a little temperature, what's going on in your life right now. You have free will. The decisions you make today affect your future in whatever way you need it to. Okay? So, the first card we have is the 9 of Pentacles in reverse. 9 of Pentacles in the upright talks about a state of independence, just being really on our own, prosperous. We've worked hard for our Pentacles. Pentacles is earth energy. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Kind of our opportunities, our finances, our resources, gather them all up together. Having enough to provide for ourselves and to help others. When the card is in reverse, though, it kind of tells me that you're in the space of being independent, but to yourself. Like, you're not really sharing too much. You're not really offering a lot. You may be feeling like you have to hold on to your resources at this time. You're not really sure of what's going to transpire, and so you have to err on the side of caution. There's a sense that this isn't the past energy. There's a sense that there isn't a lot of confidence held here. When the 9 of Pentacles is in the upright, there's a lot of confidence. There's a lot of recognition that we have really done well for ourselves, and we're proud of that. And when the card is in reverse, it's kind of in its like debilitated state, so not quite sitting in that energy. And it's clarified by the 6 of Cups. This is water energy, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, and it talks about looking back to the past, remembrance of things past. That's interesting. Remembrance of Things Past is a book by Proust, Marcel Proust, very famous figure in literature. That might be relevant to you. You might like Proust. That's just kind of an aside. If you resonate with that, then it just shows that this reading is for you. The 6 of Cups can sometimes talk about looking a little bit too much to the past, not staying in the present moment, kind of maybe rehashing or reliving something over and over and over again. Not healthy. Takes one to know one, right? I'm a Cancer. That's all Cancers do. Try not to. Can't help it. We can help it. It's just really hard. Looking back to the past is like a, it's just like encoded in our Cancer DNA or something, I don't know. But this could be you know, really just going over something in your mind. Could I have said something differently to that person? Could I have done something differently that would have changed the outcome? Remember though, you're not just dealing with your own decision making. You're dealing with everybody else's too. That's why we can't control anything except ourselves. Right? So I think there was this realization of that in your past energy. You were feeling a little protective. I feel that protectiveness. 2 cards for clarifier came out. King of Swords in reverse, 3 of Wands. This is the King of Swords in the upright. This is Gemini energy. Gemini is the sign of this and that are true. That's interesting because let's just take that example, and it doesn't have to be this. This is just an example that I gave before of you and a friend maybe being on different sides of a political spectrum, right? It happens more often than you think. We differ in our opinions from our closest family and sometimes our friends too. How do we negotiate spaces like that when we feel so strongly one way or the other, whatever it is that we're talking about? Gemini mind is unique in that it would say, well, this and that are true. I can see where you're coming from. It makes sense. I can see where I'm coming from. It makes sense. It's very frustrating. Gemini energy can be really frustrating. But it allows Gemini mind to be very fluid and masterful. Because when you can say this and that are true, then you can speak to both sides. You can communicate to both sides. King of Swords is a communicator. And he speaks the truth. He speaks his truth. Doesn't have to be talking about gender. But the card is in reverse. So this could be somebody that you regard as somebody that is not an expert, doesn't know what they're talking about, has no education in the matter. I don't feel like you have a lot of respect for this person. And 3 of Wands coming out here. When are we going to get some answers, some reasonable action taking here, right? The 3 of Wands is all about a card of waiting for the ships to come in, waiting for action to be taken, waiting. And remember, these are just examples, but Spirit's not letting it go, so I feel like somebody resonates with it. In the present energy, Page of Cups in reverse, King of Cups in the upright. This is one of those messages that's like, you're not going to get an apology from whoever it is that you're dealing with, but they mean well. You love them. They love you. So I see it kind of like a scenario, just an example of, let's say there's a scenario of a young teenage kid and their overbearing dad. This is just an example that they're just not going to agree. They butt heads, and the teenager just wants to assert themselves and assert their identity and say, I'm here, I'm me, you need to listen. And the dad is like, you're a foolish kid, you don't know what you're talking about, right? But they love you, and they mean well. They're just set in their ways. And even if they said something that really offended you, perhaps, the Page of Cups in the reverse, I don't think you're going to get that apology anytime soon. I experience this with a certain somebody in my life on the daily. I never expect an apology, not at this point. I mean, something would have to go down and I would have to like make big threats for those apologies to come out. So I just kind of roll my eyes and just chalk it up to they're stupid, you know, or like I can't reason with them. I know that they're loving, they love me in like a weird way, but I'm never going to change somebody else's mind. And I'm not going to change my mind. So that leaves us at an impasse unless we can recognize it and just let it go and let our ego know that it's right, but not have to push that onto other people. Very difficult to do, Aries. Let me get a clarifier for the Page of Cups in the reverse and the King of Cups. What's this in regards to? Page of Pentacles in reverse, something that we didn't do, something that there was an opportunity here that it's Spirit saying strike while the iron is hot, but it's like in reverse. There was something to strike and the iron was hot, but we didn't do it. Or somebody didn't do it. Somebody didn't act on something because the Page of Pentacles is in reverse. We didn't seize the day. We didn't take the opportunity. That's what this says to me. We didn't do something. Maybe we had a good reason not to. But now there's these after effects. There's repercussions for not acting when we could have. I was careful not to say when we should have. When we could have. There could be some disagreements about that. Take it as it resonates. I have no idea what this is about. No idea. Let me ask for one more clarifier. Spirit is drawing my attention. Hold on one second. To this jar of stuff. It's like charms. What does this have to do with Spirit? I have no idea. So, I don't know if you can see this. It's like a little pumpkin. It's like a pumpkin carriage, like in Cinderella. So, they're telling me that this has something to do with it. Story of Cinderella, right? She was like nobility, but then her evil stepmother made her into like a pauper. And then she's just kind of trying to live her life, but she dreamed of something more for herself, and she ran into the local prince and kind of fell for him, and then she had fairy godmother come through and just say, make me a princess, but blah blah blah. She had to be over and done with by midnight. Like the spell of her making her a princess was going to be over and done with by midnight. She had to get back by midnight, and this pumpkin carriage was part of that spell. The mask, the facade, right? The issue with Cinderella, though, was that she actually was nobility. I think the facade, the real facade, was making her into a pauper. But it's this sense that there's like a limited amount of time. There's a limitation on what somebody was able to accomplish. And I think that window closed. And it's causing some kind of upheaval. That was a really weird way to go about it, but here we are. And in the future potential, 5 of Cups, 2 of Swords in reverse. So we're experiencing a little bit of regret, a little bit of forlorn energy with the 5 of Cups. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. 2 of Swords in reverse. I'm not going down that road ever again. I feel as though you're not going to make these same mistakes in the future. right? And even if this is with somebody you love, sometimes this is kind of a tough love reading, but sometimes we have to recognize where we ourselves and other people have their shortcomings, and there has to be some kind of acceptance. You're never going to be what I expect you to be, and I should not have expected you to be anything else but yourself. See how there's responsibility on both sides? I can't expect you to be the vision that I have in my mind. You are your own person. What I can control, though, is the fact that I'm not going to have that expectation of you anymore. And it's disappointing to me, but I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm not going to be confused about it. Two of Swords in reverse. A harsh lesson, but a really important one. What's this advice from Spirit? Four of Swords. Rest and recuperation after heartbreak. Spirit is saying, this has been a disappointment to you. It's a revelation. It's a life lesson. And sometimes life lessons, karmic lessons, they take a lot out of us. They drain us. And Spirit is saying, put your swords of fighting up on the wall for a little while. Relax, rest, breathe. That's your reading, Aries. I hope that it resonated. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please hit the bell notification to be updated as to when I post new readings. Thank you, Aries.